Hello, good people, and how are we? Okay, let's get started. Please do come and join us as a warrior teacher. Buy me a coffee, subscribe, the usual stuff. Help me keep going. Things are quiet at the moment. I'm struggling, but we'll see where we go. Let's keep going. February start for the warrior teachers. Humphrey Dinsmore. What a great name. Humphrey Dinsmore, as you can see. I have here on the screen the name Humphrey Dinsmore because I think this is important. Humphrey is obviously a pseudonym. It's not his actual name, but what he's written, I think, is interesting in the fact that it gives us something to consider. It's not that I'm saying that what Humphrey's saying is true because I have no way of knowing that. I cannot. All I can do is say that I think it's important. I don't know that it's true, and I certainly can't prove it. But it does tie in with some of my thinking around the need for an audit and an inquisition of organizations to understand the philosophy that is leading to the silencing and to the fear that people feel of being called, for example, racist when trying to expose crimes against children and other dreadful situations. So Humphrey Dinsmore, who's on Twitter, and all the links as usual are in the doobas for you, at Back to Burke is his name. I'm a qualified clinician working in the NHS in one of the infamous northern rape gang towns. Being a psychological service, we come into contact with victims of these gangs extremely frequently and have done for decades. Their stories are truly horrifying. Like most NHS services, the one I work for has a particular talent for running awareness initiatives. Posters are put up, whole service emails are sent, presentations are given, and meetings are had. LGBT plus awareness, Black History Month, International Women's Day, Refugee Week, Race Equality Week, Ramadan, used as a springboard for Islam awareness. We have all of those and more every single year. We also have one-off initiatives that respond to current events, for example, in response to the death of George Floyd. We even had emails sent around and group meetings held in response to the recent Southport murders, though these were exclusively about the fear members of the BAME community must be feeling. That first salvo of sentences there really do highlight something to me that I think is incredibly dangerous. This focus on identity politics is causing serious problems. And one of the main planks of this particular problem is what I would call an affinity group. Now, affinity groups are based around identity. For example, LGBTQ plus lunatics, LGBTQ plus nutters, BAME, whatever it may be, trans inclusive, whatever they may be. These affinity groups, which seem to predominantly exist within the public sector, are something that need to go, and they need to go quickly and with extreme prejudice. Just shut them down. In addition, we need to start looking very closely, and this is where I think the audit and the inquiry should go, at what is causing all of these problems, which we're seeing highlighted here by this tweet from a clinician within the NHS, we think, okay? Given the fact, it continues, we work in an area swamped in the organised mass rape of young, vulnerable British girls, and that we routinely work with these girls, you'd expect an initiative to be created in response to this issue, wouldn't you? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not even a single email. It is never spoken about, it is never addressed, and if someone does mention it in passing, they are looked at as if they are speaking Latin. Extraordinary. Not extraordinary when you consider the nature of ideological collectivist thinking, which is what we are faced with here. And I think we're faced with it right to the very top of government. Ideological collectivist thinking, which is the narrative that is given to you by the powers that be, is the one that's true, even if it's not. It's the one that dominates, even if it's ridiculous. There was a wonderful scene at the end of Chernobyl, the TV series, which you haven't seen it, you're missing out tremendously. Where the Russian apartheid says to the scientist who was responsible for controlling Chernobyl, what does the truth matter when the bullet hits the back of your head? This is how leftist collectivism works. It will be the state-sanctioned truth, not the actual truth that they're interested in. That is what we're seeing. And this vicious malign type of thinking, which is ideological in nature, manifests itself in just the way that you're seeing expressed in this tweet. If nothing else, you'd expect there to be a clinical need for conversations to be taking place, considering we provide care to many victims, but no, apparently not. We are woefully unprepared to work with these girls because no one's willing to address the problem head on. Maybe I'm stupid or have lost my mind. God knows it's starting to feel like I have. I am just utterly appalled at the lack of willingness on the part of professionals to pull their bloody heads out of the sand and face up to what's laid before us. Decades on, and they still can't seem to do it, yet they wonder why faith in them and a good majority of other public services is collapsing. Repulsive, willful blindness. If you read this, please retweet it. People like myself have no other way to publicise such disgraces due to the institutional gagging of anyone and everyone who dares to challenge our respective establishments. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. We need a woke finder general. I'll do it. There's dozens of women that are doing this. Dozens of women that are already at work looking at policies, procedures, The Women's Rights Network, Sex Matters. So many people are already doing this. We've got the information. You just need to give us the power. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? Give me the power. But we do. We do need to put people in power who are not there to blame people, but who are there to eradicate this insane ideology of wokeness, this insane identity politics from all policies and procedures. And all it would take is the right people, the budget, and the black marker. They constructed this through language. We can deconstruct it by removing that language. Because until we do, people will continue to suffer. There will still be lies about the truth. And people, like the individual who wrote this, will still be gagged. But it appears to me we don't have the stomach for it. I genuinely wish that wasn't the truth. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.